sin, such dedicated souls. But anyway, I just had a feeling I needed to do a garden reading for the collective. And the most important thing is clarity. Clarity showed up. When the stone falls here, all's about to become clear. So I went, oh, well, that's a good beginning for the week, for the collective. So then I said, what's going on? And in water, we have the mind stone and the spirit stone. And when they show up in water, this one literally means let go of limitations. And the spirit means grounding changes are happening that set into long-term patterns. This is real change. This and these three would be change enough. But then when you get down to the bottom, it said, all is heading into new grounding elements, and grounding changes are setting into long-term patterns. Something's changing this week, Scott. If the garden's right.
Well,
what did you see?
I threw some cards on what your garden is supposed to mean to me, or the universe, or our knowledge. I think there is a change coming. 9 of coins comes first, and that's my card for balancing the universe.
Right.
You're reaping your rewards. You're getting the balance of your finances, your world. And then I get the 8 of Wands. It's coming quickly. The energy's flowing. And then justice, the ultimate balancer.
Right.
The world, the devil, and loss. These actions that are coming up are going to affect everybody, and the devil's going to be gone. I think this is the downfall that is happening for the evil around us. The bad people are getting exposed and being, like in Turkey, I guess that Orban's got horrible polling. Unless he rigs the election, he's going to lose.
Yeah.
And then it shows the King Donald, in a hangman position. And then we got some celebrations going on. So I think it's a good time. I mean, so obviously it's not a good time, but I think the progression is these evil monsters are gonna find a reckoning soon.
Well, BB may not be dead, but he's grown another finger.
They're doing their best to try to make it look like he's doing all the work and alive. It's weird.
Okay, I'm going to put this one out. This was one of the ones that came in the feed through my YouTube post. We have another COVID-like epidemic by the end of the year. I hope not, but she hears chatter about it. And my only comment on that one is it's more that kind of chatter that catches us back up into manifesting that back in. Because I think anybody in their right mind wouldn't even want to think that way. And we don't have to think about it that way. Apparently, hospitals are having horrible times controlling measles.
It's a self-induced pandemic of sorts. I think the pandemic horrors are over. As far as pandemics, I think the universe has balanced itself with going through COVID. But you know, like you just mentioned, with measles and
Right.
polio, those kind of things that we're doing pretty well with vaccinations. That kind of horror and stuff is popping up. Those kind of conflicts. But I think, like you said, that kind of chatter, a pandemic, is just noise. Page of Wands. Page of Wands, and then people putting out conflicts unnecessary.
Right. Right. Let me see. I've got my friend who runs the company that manufactures the air handlers that killed COVID and kills all airborne stuff. She said, that's how come I know how bad it's getting with the measles. All the hospitals are contacting them because it also gets rid of measles, gets rid of any airborne pathogen, and it stops hospitals from having those outbreaks from one section of the hospital to another. And she said, it's a mess. So there's women who just don't want to go to the hospital and have their babies. I mean,
you mean it's like a filtration?
It's an air handling system, and they had manufactured it before COVID. But when COVID hit, they tried it at the University of Pennsylvania in 2 buildings in the middle of the height of the epidemic when there was no vaccination or anything. And when they would check the air in those buildings, there was no COVID in there. I have one of those. She gave me one of those before I went in the hospital. And if I had probably not had that, I might have died in June because it clears the air that much.
Wow.
And my nurses that came to take care of me, they'd see it and we'd talk about it. And she gave them coupons so they could get it at a discounted price. She set up a whole policy in her company that healthcare workers can get it in their own homes at a discounted price. A small air handler system for a house will do 2,000 square feet.
Garden chicken. Well, the felon grew his ear back. Bibby can grow an extra finger.
Very good. Yay. I got no on the COVID too. I just got a no. I got just as somebody, this is a chariot. Someone trying to spread bad words back towards us. But yeah, be aware of fear-mongering sort of things. I know you say, but it's gotten so bad. But when people throw stuff up, and just like this question was, it's like chatter. It is just chatter. But the problem is, and if you want to know more about this topic, on Thursday on my usual show at 1, I'm having Tim Walter come on, and he's the one that teaches dowsing and house clearing. But he's just written a book called What Now? And it's about how to work with the subtler energy. And it's about how we can manifest in our own prosperity and our own tragedy, but not like The Secret, not like you write things down. So he talks about how the whole physical universe is set up with quantum mechanics and how that works. So, okay, ICE agents are being sent to the airport. Okay, they haven't been sent yet. Will ICE agents ever make it to the airports? Oh my goodness. I got 5 yes. I got a 5-card yes.
Yeah, the guys that kind of tell me they're going to try, put them there, do something. Ridiculous, but it's going to be a failure here. I'm getting. Let's see, yeah, they're talking about it, trying to craft a plan, and then thinking it's going to help the TSA.
Right. But what I got is the reason. What did you see is the reason they're doing it? What's the background reason? Did you see it? It's because they got the 8 of Swords. They're trapped. They built this whole mess with the Homeland Security. They got to try and figure a way out of it. So I think, well, this is comfortable. We'll just send in the thugs nobody else wants anyway.
Right.
And they'll fit right in because they could stand around in uniforms and boss people around who just want to get from here to there. But higher intelligence swoops in and they're going to realize that they're not doing the job they're supposed to be doing. Yeah, they're going to get there, but it's not going to be a good thing. Zoo.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to. A lot of Five of Swords. You know, thinking it's going to help bring the angels in. Ace of Wands would be action, but there's a lot of conflict there. They don't know what they're doing, and it's going to be a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
And Page of Swords is like semi-military functions, magician, trying to be a jack of all trades kind of thing, but it's going to be a failure.
Mm-hmm. Well, what have they done?
They're not trained. If
they
only the Republic or the Democrats had the bill, but they're hiding on the ICE stuff.
Good Sunday, AM. Will Trump's crass comment in response to Mueller's death move the needle closer to his ouster? It was truly shocking to find his character in the starkest manner. He has no couth.
This is true.
He unfortunately put an M in front of that. He does have a mouth, so we don't get to be spared his no couth.
The GOP didn't say it. There are some of the supporters didn't like it. I don't know what kind of needle you're hoping for.
Oh, actually, I got a yes.
Mike Johnson never sees anything, so.
Mike's too big. He's gone blind watching his video screen. Isn't that what they used to say would happen to little boys who did things like that? Anyway, I got the Tower upside down. No, it's not going to move everything right away. But then I actually have impressive cards. I've got the Lover and the Empress, which is mature people making decisions. And then I see the Seven of Cups, which is they're thinking there's a new way to do this. And actually, I think somehow, I don't think it's going to push enough people that the Five of Cups reverse. They're going to quit crying over spilt milk and decide some action has to be taken. Well, you're seeing in Wisconsin, aren't you seeing a lot of politicians pull and just not run?
Yeah. The assembly leader retiring, the Senate majority leader retiring, and anyone that doesn't think they can win their seat is retiring.
Mm-hmm.
The new maps are having the effect of they're just going to run away instead of actually do work for their seat. I think the support base is more upset over the Iran thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I'm seeing here. Those words are feeling some betrayals. I got King of Swords coming in as Mueller, and the Six of Swords, he's obviously moving on to a better journey. And then I get that Five of Swords again of betrayals.
Mm-hmm.
Betrayals, lies, being an abusive person. And I think better angels are there for some. The King of Wands, Ace of Cups, that's being more of a dynamic, empathetic person.
Mm-hmm.
So many did see that, as bad. And that's not our leader, but it comes in. There's worse stuff going on because of going into Iran. Because it's affecting their pocketbook, not the anger. Not the stuff they like of his kind of talk he always usually does,
I know. Okay. Okay, we got some Mueller questions. Will the SAVE Act pass or will the Dems cave again?
I don't see it passing.
I don't see it passing. I don't see it passing, not because Dems aren't perfectly capable of caving, but I think it's not passing because Republicans are hearing too much at home. Let's see.
Chariot. King of Cups. Yeah. I get a Tower and a 5 of Swords. It ain't passing. It is not passing. Tower, 5 of Swords, Ace of Wands. It's not passing.
Mm-hmm. I don't see it passing either. Thank you, Trobass Ackwards. Very generous of you. Apparently, that man must know how hard it is to get up on Sunday morning. Did you see it, Scott? Thank you both for light and darkness.
Thank you, God.
Yeah. We're trying to be. Scott, talk about something. Talk about what's happening in Wisconsin. How's your weather?
The weather. Oh, it's actually warm today. Yesterday was about 70. Today is about 60. So, and it's windy, but not better than the 10 inches of snow.
Yeah, did you get dumped on
feet.
after the kind of? I heard somebody talk about how he had 4 feet fall on his house in Wisconsin.
Yeah, the north did. North of Green Bay had like 3-4 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Middle of the state got like 2-3 feet, but our area got about a foot.
And here's a cheery thought: they are preparing their own coup against the monster. Who would they give power to? Another monster.
Well, is there any?
Do the Republicans even have the balls to do a coup?
Do the Republicans have the balls to remove the madman?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, severe floods are going on in Hawaii.
Yes, I know. I have a student in my trail class that's why. Well, it ain't gonna be JD. Yeah, they're working on it. I see the 8 of Cups, the Empress, which is to complete something, and it's sort of a pipe dream in a way, but you got the 7 and 8 of Cups. Emotionally, it's what they want to do. They can't figure out how to do it. They've got justice reversed, and part of the problem is that the person that would be next is JD, and they all hate him, probably more than Trump. Now there's a dilemma.
Well, they won't get death threats most likely with JD.
I mean, the Russians want to arrange to have his ear shot off so that he can look like a hero.
I'm getting the leadership in the past was a abject failure, disaster. Then I get the 8 of Coins with that, and that's kind of like working on a plan possibly, or fractured. I'm going more with fractured.
Mm-hmm.
Since 45, they could have got rid of him, but the leadership was a failure, right? So it's just been an ongoing mess. And then I got moving forward. They're just praying. They're praying for better times, praying someone else would do the dirty work for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I got female leadership here, and that doesn't make any sense. I think they were praying that Kamala would win to get rid of him.
And then all they'd have to do is pick on her all the time.
Right. And then he'd be gone and da. Right. Outcome, I get a tower again, a failure, a divorce, ace of coins of prosperity, but then I get like a military coup with the Knight of Swords. So what does that mean? Preparing a coup against the monster. Well, obviously their prosperity is in failure. I don't think this means the knight means a military coup. I just think it means the harsh reactions they're dealing with, death threats and all that kind of feeling. So anything they would do would be a failure. So
well, I don't see, in that case, I just saw that their big problem is their next choice is J.D. Vance. And
he didn't come up in my rating.
well, maybe he doesn't come up. Maybe he's off buying eyeliner. R.I.P. Robert Mueller. Thank you for your service. Yes, I think we all.
He's just, JD's upset he didn't get any of that military $93 billion for more couches.
Yeah, I mean, even Kristi Noem, who shoots dogs, got her own plane.
But it got taken away. Poor Kristi.
Yeah, and then she's stuck with Gloria Newandowski in the Econo Lodge. Woo.
Okay. I guess a lot of people are upset with Chuck Schumer. They want a coup in there and remove him.
Oh, there's a lot. Trust me. There's this weekend. I don't know what was going on in other parts of the world, but in Texas, it was the county parties' weekend to have their county party, meetings. And Sean actually went to the one in Dallas County. He didn't think he'd be here, but since apparently he's not going to Wisconsin.
I think we got it locked up in the bag.
They think they have it locked up in the bag, but the problem is you still have to go talk to people. They brought in the same communications team they used before that lost an election they shouldn't have lost it. Go out and work in your own neighborhood if you're in Wisconsin, because the state's not doing much for it. And of course, I'm a very prejudiced mother about that. But anyway, he's doing some stuff in Dallas County. And so he went in, he said it was actually very well run. They had good speakers, not as many, not every blowhard getting up, blowing their horn. And but he told me that people really want the Republican leadership, the Democratic leadership in the Senate to change. Bird flu, another fun topic.
I'm seeing a failure here. I know that we're working on a bird flu vaccine, but that went bye-bye. So I got some heavy burdens with the promises of the Two of Cups and the Seven of Swords, the deceit and lies and stealing. Heartbreak with the Three of Swords. The home of the chickens. I think that's a coop. Losses and Page of Swords. So yeah, I think it's going to get bad again. We're probably going to have high egg prices again and chicken.
Well, they're going to use it. It's like they had all the gas and oil in the refineries, right? So what do? They're stopping ships in Hormuz. They just immediately go jack it up in the refineries. whether they've paid a higher price for it or not.
Yeah, those that makes no sense. You got tankers that have full tanks underground, but it can go up 10 cents the next day of the same gas that's in the ground that you paid for.
It's gone up $1 a gallon in Texas. So
I can see it in their shipments, but that is crazy how that works.
Well, I remember back in the old gas line days. Does anyone else remember those wonderful times? There was a cartoon that went around, and it was the guy saying, "Oh, good Lord, gas. Something happened to Arab oil prices," and you see the guy run out from the gas station and immediately start changing all the numbers on the signs, and then they go, "Oh, there's a glut of gasoline." And you see this guy walking slower than you can ever even imagine to go change the gas prices. So that's what monopolies are about. Bird flu, I think it's going to go where it goes, but it's whether that you're right. It's like Kennedy saying diseases aren't communicable. That's where I learned the word communicable is about diseases. Self-advertising. This lady's in my tarot class. We had a good time. It was fun, informative, and interesting. If you're interested in only the tarot part, you can still get in by Wednesday. With the Strait of Hormuz closed, how bad will price shortages get over our medications?
Did you see that Iran is letting ships through to certain countries for a $1 million? For a million?
Diana Scott. Vamp, 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 vamp.
They're using the Chinese yuan and $1 million US or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're using the yuan, which is going to hurt our economy.
Right.
God.
Let's see if we see how bad it's going to get on our medications. I'll read it, Scott. You get your life together there.
Right. Hopefully back.
Oh, I see. With regard to medications, you got the Empress and you got Justice. It's a heavy burden someone can't figure out what they're going to do with. It's really going to be costly to people to get the medications they need because everything you ever get that's in medication is in plastic. And it's going to be as bad as you can imagine. You got the Wheel of Fortune rolling. So if it goes on for too long, you're going to have to BYOB when you go to the pharmacist. Here's my bottle. Fill it up.
So yeah, I get the 5 of coins.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's going to be losses there. Money losses for what you need because of the conflict. There's the Knight of Swords again. At some point, it's going to stabilize. Obviously, everything does stabilize when things get normal with the justice there.
Right.
Didn't show me timing or anything, but how bad?
Wheel of Fortune can mean October. It's a 10.
Justice is November, so.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that 5 of coins coming in again, losing money.
We're back to a Mueller question because we take them in order, folks. May Robert Mueller rest in peace. may his report not be in vain. Will it be reopened and re-examined when we have a Justice Department again? I think they're going to have so much stuff to do, but a lot of what they'll be cleaning up goes back to that time. So I'm asking if the report will be reopened and re-examined. I got yes and no.
Yeah, because I believe Mueller investigation found a roadmap of how they move finances, how they everything intertwined with certain forces and the oligarchs and whatnot. So it's like it is used in a sense of, you know, a roadmap to these criminal organizations overseas. And I think that's the biggest thing they need to do is stop that stuff. The interjection of foreign money and foreign ties and stuff like that.
Yeah, my first card says it all. It's going to be the guideline. It's going to be the hermit. It's going to be the font of knowledge they go back to figure out what they need to look at. Oh, it's a different topic, sort of. What's wrong with what's up with Senator Fetterman?
I've seen people are posting his 2022 speech and comparing him now, how he completely flipped on everything.
He's not doing well. He's in a very defensive position. He's not made good allies. He's not good at dealing with people. He's dealing with a lot of depression and anxiety. He's not planted his crops well, and he's not moving anywhere. So take that for what you want.
Yeah, I wonder. So something inside of him went dark. I don't think he changed.
I think he changed. Have you ever been around someone that has a stroke? Things change in their brains the way they.
Right, that's what I mean. I mean, him as a person didn't change.
No.
His circumstances of what happened changed, right? What you're saying. Because his introspection and who he was and believed and his security became dark. You know, like it transitioned to something else. There's something severe with his health, his mind, all his function. And there was that drastic change, and now he's on that new path of how he speaks and how he acts and everything like that. He'll be moving on at a certain point.
Yeah, I don't think he'll run again. I think it was the stress of running for office that caused that stroke.
I read something yesterday, I think it was from a reporter, and she was saying how he doesn't even go on the Senate floor because he won't go in a suit.
Right. Well, they chided him for everything else too.
So he supposedly sits off in his hoodie and sweatpants off to the side on a couch, listens, and then when it's come time to vote, he just goes thumbs up or thumbs down, and someone pushes the button and he leaves. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't speak.
At least he's there. We had a congresswoman, one district over for me from Fort Worth, that was in the Alzheimer's care unit, and her staff was still running. She never even showed up. No one knew till after the election she wasn't there. I think they should have a roll call, and just whether they're there in their hoodie, as long as they're not in the long-term mental care ward.
What was her name? Is that the Granger effect?
Yeah, Pat. I actually met her when she was mayor of Fort Worth. She was a nice lady. I'm not saying that, and I'm not saying she wasn't a good person almost every other day of her life, but, you know, and I'm sure by the time she got to that point, her staff was running everything, and she did nothing. Okay. Well, the Wahahiawa, and I don't write me notes. I'm sorry, I don't speak Hawaiian. Dam in Hawaii hold. If it breaks, will people be evacuated safely? It's 2 questions. Let's see if it's going to hold.
I read they're already telling them to leave.
Yeah. Or hang on to Danny Shea's rubber ducky. Let's see if it's going to hold. Oh, they're lucky it's going to hold, but man, they are not prepared. They're not listening to the move out thing. They're hanging in there. I think it's going to turn out okay for them. In the end, it's going to ride in swiftly, but there's been some planning made. But I don't think it breaks. I don't think it breaks because of the 9 of Cups.
Yeah, that's the kind of the vision that it's kind of like a semi break or a crack or, you know, something, but not a complete failure. I mean, it's showing here. They're telling people to walk away and prepare.
Mm-hmm.
Being your Ace of Cups by walking away. Law enforcement or help is trying to get people to move and get to a safe area with the Knight of Swords. Seems to be plenty of messaging out there about safety with the Page of Wands. Truth and clarity with Ace of Swords. Ace of Wands is movement, getting the team together. So I think the preparations are already there. It's the people that don't leave and take those actions. I wonder if something like this, well, it feels like other things have been happening there.
Mm-hmm.
Volcano eruptions or whatever. Bad weather. I think the emergency systems or whatever are, you know, prepared and gone through plenty.
Mm-hmm.
Because I get that 6 of Cups and preparing for conflict. So it feels close, but I'm not being shown a complete collapse.
No, I'm not seeing a complete collapse. Okay. Can we just one damn day? Can we have one damn day where he doesn't embarrass the hell out of all of us? No. I don't have to push a card on that one, Rose. No, not until he's lying there in his stroke. When he has a stroke, then he'll quit embarrassing us, except he'll probably have it out in a public hallway, and it'll be shown over and over again on the TV. So
I would like one DM day that the right-wing media actually tells the truth.
Oh, yeah.
Because you get it so many times. You try to explain to someone, no, this is what happened. Well, I didn't see that. It can't be true. Because they don't see it, you know. I'm like, and they don't know what Google is. That's the most frustrating part.
Can they count to 5? Have they seen BB's hand?
I don't think so.
That was on Fox News.
Yeah.
When will the abuse atrocities be investigated? That's already started. They're already emptying out the worst one here in Texas because of the deaths and the other things associated with it.
Yep, lawsuits got to keep coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only thing that's going to do it because they're not going to do it. There's also reports of detainees being pregnant. So there's abuse happening that way too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, from one good piece of news to another. Pundits are saying Israel may go to nuclear war after a hit on their nuclear plant. What do you see? I don't see a nuclear war.
No one will go nuclear. And if it does, our friends in the sky will stop it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Dr. Gale's buddies will be right there.
You betcha.
Any news on what's really happening?
Okay, yeah.
With Beaver coming out next week.
Let's see. We're going to get the truth. We're going to get the truth coming out. We're going to get the truth coming out. Let's see. Truth about Bibby. Are you tossing on Bibby?
I think news will come out. Now, I didn't ask if it's truthful news.
Okay. Something drastic happened in the past. Because there was a ten of swords happened to him.
Well, that's pretty drastic.
Ace of Wands and strength. So, like, doctor work or trying to help him in some way.
Mm-hmm.
The current situation, I get the star, 3 of coins, ace of coins. That to me is like manipulation, AI, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing. Because the 3 of coins is usually like gaining abilities, working on something, trying to make things come out, a certain way. Future, I get the liar and deceit card with the 7 of swords. Ace of swords, the truth, and then the ace of cups. So I think some understanding is on its way, but you got to be aware because they're still going to be using some AI stuff with that 7 of swords. And then I get 8 of swords being restricted from something. 4 of cups, that's being restricted too, kind of hiding out. 6 of coins, that's trying to get help one way or another. And then 5 of wands, lack of energy. I don't know. Whatever happened in the past with that 10 of swords is going to affect him in the future. So there may be more AI stuff to make him look virile and all good to go, but it seems like he's going to be going downhill.
Yeah, I think, well, he's not going home again. Not moving on. He's a hangman, so he's stuck in whatever position he's in. There's no balance where he is. So they're just not really sure what to do. But my out cards are the High Priestess and the 10 of Wands. And the High Priestess means our intuitions are probably right. And the 10 of Wands says he's done. he's ready to let it go. So
I guess his son Yair is back on Twitter now, but
mhm.
he was claiming it was a 7-day religious holiday of no internet and stuff. But the thing is, he was like,
I have a Jewish friend who said the easiest thing in the world was when he was young and Jewish and he worked for a bunch of Christians. He could come in and say, "It's Hubba Hubba Day," and they'd let him go because they had no idea. We have so many holidays.
but he said it was a 7-day thing, but he was off social
Yeah,
media
he was off hiding, trying to figure out what to say.
for 13 days.
Yeah.
And
There are 4 major meat packers in this country. And then, Jack, the meat prices went up so high. Also, the meat unions, did they settle? Do you know, Scott? Because that affects your world.
they're in negotiations out in Colorado, I think.
Yeah.
They want higher pay and insurance and all that. There's a lot of things that go into beef prices. All the commodities like milk, cheese, butter, beef, pork is all based off of the market.
Mm-hmm.
If beef prices are at a cold cow is at 120 pounds, $120 a pound, or 100 weight. That's what it is. And that reflects on how the prices are. It also supply and demand. Let's say there's a high demand of tenderloins.
Mm-hmm.
There's limited supplies of tenderloins. That's going to go up.
Mm-hmm.
There's also low, what do they call that? Feedlot. The number of animals on feedlot is low.
I know it's the lowest it's been in years.
That will raise the price too. But we do know during that COVID season, they jacked up the prices.
Yeah.
So now we got fuel going up. That's going to raise the costs. Because we, as a shipper, have to raise our costs.
Right. Well, they got to pay you and they got to pay your truck to get from here to there.
So generally, because there's 4, a little bit, but it's all market driven. Most things are market driven. Even oil generally is market driven.
Mm-hmm.
That's how prices are usually set. But gouging does happen, yes. But the beef prices are on the market right now.
That's right.
Some reason the bits and pieces that are used for beef hamburger is astronomically high, but the price of sirloin and ribs and whatnot, and even tenderloin's a little bit high, but the other cuts aren't as high. It's like the cheap stuff's converging with the higher end, which is ridiculous. So I can see how the hamburger price is up because what I see for the product that's used for hamburger is up like $1, $1.25 from what it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I can see it's high, but it's mostly on the animals available on the feedlot. And if you get fires out west or droughts, that's going to raise the price. So
okay, somebody wants us to read on No King's Day on 28th. What do you see, Scott?
I think it's going to be bigger.
Yeah, I think so too.
Bigger than before. Wheezy says there's a sale going on for her grocery.
One of our most expensive markets that, they have more organic stuff and they have different things. So the baseline of other things tend to be higher. But they've been having some kick-ass sales. I've been watching. One thing about using Instacart is I can look at all the stores and see what stuff costs from store to store. What you got?
High Priestess, Page of Cups, Knight of Cups. I think people want more, better. It feels safe. I'm not getting like negativity cards and backlash. High Priestess is your people's energy getting out there, using your intuition. Page of Cups is gifts. Knight of Cups is gifts. Generous proposals. The Fool, taking that leap and getting out there. Empress, love and protection, wanting better.
Mm-hmm.
And then that Nine of Wands, defending your territory. So it looks safe and it looks prosperous.
Mm-hmm. I've always had a good feeling about it. Yeah, when I pulled one card on it, I got the Sun. Can't ask for better.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's the best card in the deck,
That's true.
in my opinion.
Unless you're reading about your ex, and then the Three of Swords isn't bad. Okay, I'm starring a couple things, and then we'll come back. Oh, here's a cheery question. When is the obituary for the whole world waiting to become up? Geez, this guy pushes every button.
Yeah, let's see a time. Well, the cards give me some timing on the great obituary. Lord Jesus, angels, when's the great obituary coming?
Oh, here I'm going to star a silly question. Someone quotes Trump and said, "Is that the truth?" Well, no. Look who said it.
I wonder if I should do any more.
Oh,
One card, Tower, July.
well, I hope he's not. I don't see him around for the 250th. Sean was not quite. No, he was an infant, and we took him to the most all-American thing we could think to do on the 200th anniversary, a soccer game.
Then I get a severe health event. It's going to take a whistleblower to know about it for a while until like August. So like some kind of tower is going to happen around July, around his birthday to July. But I think they're going to try to hide it that anything happened, and it may be a while before we even know. Let's go with that.
Okay.
This year, the great health event happens, and they try to hide it for a while. I see
Here's
2535 Apples asking if he's ever going to have a court again. So if he has the great obituary this year, there's going to be no court.
That's right. And she's had 2 strokes, and it does. I know it changes you because my husband had some before the last year he was alive, and he had a couple of ones that I didn't exactly understand, but his words changed and his ability to think things through sort of changed. Let's see what we got in the way of starred. We read on New King's Day. Okay. Will we be doing regime change in Colombia to help accelerate Trump's goal of conquering nations in the Americas towards the development of his technate? No.
I see the DOJ is trying to find some goods on the Colombian leader so they can try to arrest him like they did in Venezuela. So they're planning something.
I thought they were our friends. I thought Colombia was our friends. I get so confused, Scott. They're trying to declare war on the country next to them to get some piece of land that's supposed to have oil on it. So, pox on all their houses.
What's going to happen with Colombia? What's going to happen with Colombia? Well, they're doing this nonsense because a lot of the cocaine and drugs come out of Colombia. Now they want a regime change there.
Does he not know that a lot of stuff's made in trailer parks in America?
No.
No,
All Americans, by his pardons, he thinks every American seems to be
we're all out itching,
innocent.
buying from our dealers.
And plus anyone that gives them money.
If I had the following he'd have, I probably would believe that too. But I have you lovely people following us, so I don't have to worry. I got no, Scott. I got no. They can't find the way to do it. They don't really want it all to come to an end. There's no way to balance this out. It's been a fruitless intellectual pursuit to go look for it, and they're stuck in the same spot. They can't make up their mind. I got no.
Yeah. I'm not getting. Is this going to be a pack of lies? That's some words coming out. This is going to 45 in this administration is going to throw out some lies. We've got 7 of Swords. Trying to make some actions with the 8 of Wands. Ace of Swords, we got some frustrations, hollow victories. Then we got a Fool. They may try something, but there's a heavy burden on trying to do that. With whatever it may be. I don't see it militarily because I'm not getting those type of cards, but it's like just talk. And I got Hierophant, anxieties, 9 of Swords, fears and frustrations, the world, everything going on in the world and other countries, Knight of Pentacles, being honorable. This is not showing military action of regime change.
No.
I just think it's going to be more lies just put out there randomly. We didn't even get our hospital boat in Greenland.
I know. Those nasty people. Let them freeze, Will the trans community be severely targeted by ICE?
Why do they need ICE when they're being targeted by states?
Why they be targeted by
Kansas is putting a law through that they have to change their driver's licenses
to what they were when they were born.
Yeah.
If it was me, I'd say go down there and feel and tell me what you know. Really?
Ohio is doing some similar stuff like that. Ohio is also trying to track every pregnancy. Luckily, Ohio didn't pass a law to be it was either execution or life in prison for a miscarriage.
Oh, yeah.
Or an abortion, something like that.
Well, the problem is they can't tell the difference between one and the other. And really, I've had friends who've lost babies. That's already the most crushing thing to your soul, and then to have the state coming after you.
There was just a young woman in Georgia that was arrested for taking the abortion pill. They're charging her with murder. So she's locked up and have to go to the court system to try to prove herself. It's still going. And then
unfortunately, I think they are.
And the international waters they're still killing people there. That's just happened. The count's up to like 160. The last one, they killed 2 people and 1 person survived, and they were given to the Mexico Coast Guard. So one person survived, but other two fishermen
Mm-hmm.
were murdered for no reason.
Well, then don't complain about the cost of beef, guys, when we're shooting the guys that are trying to get the fish out of the water. I got, yes, and it's distressing. It's because they think it's the best way to do this. They still think this is an issue they can sell to people, and they're right because people don't think. And it's going to start, but then stop. But it's not till we have a change of leadership. I mean, the man's desperate for issues people will agree with him on. What you got, Scott? You gonna go? Okay. Next question.
Oh yeah,
JD Vance.
no,
Okay. JD Vance's eyeliner is tattooed on. Okay, that's fine too. I wouldn't do that either. That's okay. I don't like war paint on men or women. Will Trump ever face the U.S. courts again? No, because he's not going to live that long. And that's just my guides talking right to you. So I don't. They're like, don't lay any more cards about that stuff.
Yeah.
When is the obituary of the whole world waiting coming? I already thought we saw that one.
Yep, we did that one.
Yeah, that's depressing. Okay, this is the one. Will the military split and actually confront him before we lose more Americans?
Will the military? Trump and Hegseth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if everyone's seen, but there was a fire on our largest warship, the Gerald Ford or whatever.
Right. It was in the laundry room.
It had to go back to Cyprus, whatever, for repairs.
Right. Because the damage went through the sleeping area. And so people were sleeping in the kitchens.
Yikes.
Yeah. I haven't seen stories like that since World War II, and I wasn't even there at the time. Okay.
Probably on purpose so to get out of it. Let's start a fire so we don't have to be in this mess.
No, they actually said, the people that went on said it was a legitimate, oops, that dryer started on fire. You heat things up in confined spaces and they start on fire. Have you ever been in a laundromat or a place like that when something like that happens where a dryer goes up? Whoa.
I almost had a dryer that went up. It didn't complete fire, but it fired underneath because of the lint, and it was a gas one.
I had a dryer in a house, and they told me they properly vented it when they installed it, and it ended up the vent went into nowhere. The vent hole was there, but it didn't go outside. And when I moved, it took those guys almost 2 hours to get all the lint that was in that dryer and all the way packed around. And the guy said they pulled out 2 credit cards that had made it into the mush. And the guy looked at me and said, "We don't know why you didn't have a fire, lady. You should have burnt up." Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be pushed too far. There's some people that are already working on it. You have the 4 of Cups and 3 of Cups. They are ready to move on. But I don't see it happening for 7 days or 7 weeks.
In the past, I think they were willing for the mission. Either fill the pack of lies or just, like some of them I read were out on the boat already for like 10 months. But I'm taking the action to do the mission, right?
Right.
I'm getting in the past. but things went awry, not going as planned with the Ten of Swords, the Page of Swords, and Four of Wands. So like the mission went awry. So there's some unease now. Moving forward, I got walking away, not believing what's going on. We're losing a lot of resources.
Mm-hmm.
So then we got walking away from the mission. Outcome, I get King of Cups, better leaders and minds, Four of Swords, standing down, and then moving elsewhere with the Two of Coins, Queen of Cups.
Mm-hmm.
So there is indecision in the ranks. We're losing a lot of resources according to this. Munitions and aircraft and drones and everything. It's more than we are hearing. So there's a pulling back with the Eight of Cups of what's going on, kind of like staying in the background feeling, not making as many strikes. So yeah, there is a split. I am seeing a split right now.
Yeah.
Not happy with what's going on.
I just don't think they can figure out exactly how to pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, you have orders. It's a gray area of what's illegal or not.
Pete Hegseth's pastor wants to indoctrinate Americans to Christian evangelism. Is there a plan in place? There's been a plan in place for that since I was a junior in college, which was 1969.
Well, that clown's last speech was right on that edge.
Has his pastor ever talked to him about not drinking?
Or cheating?
Or cheating?
Or stealing from the organizations?
Or ordering people to deaths that he says he's not ordering them to? No.
Hegseth is the poster child for anti-religion or anti.
Mm-hmm.
He got fired from 2 organizations he ran for mismanagement of funds.
Well, that's sort of my impression of evangelicals. And my first marriage, I will confess, my first husband was a theologue. He was a minister. And I saw the church from the inside. Now, he was not an evangelical, whacked out Christian. Matter of fact, he smoked a pipe and he was a Methodist minister, which was big news at that time. If you did that, you were really bad. He was not a very good minister either, but I heard and saw all those guys in theology school with him. And none of them believed in God. They just saw it as a way to power. So
that makes sense. I'm getting the troops aren't buying it. It's illusions, delusions.
I got 2 10s in my reading, which means this whole idea is over. So,
but that does seem like that was a plan. Mm-hmm. In the past, I get 4 of Wands, the Star, Wheel of Fortune. That was the plan. It's more for the people, the evangelicals themselves, because I am not seeing the military as a whole.
No, I don't think it's
getting on board with this crap. There does feel like there is some orders or documentation to make this like the law, rule of land, that you must believe in God or whatever in the military, because here it is with the Hierophant, 3 of Coins, and the Knight of Swords, the military. But I got the indecision in the ranks, the fighting. 2 of Wands, Ace of Swords, and 5 of Swords again. There's that fighting in the ranks there with that 5 of Swords. not believing it. And then I get illusions of strength, taking different paths with the Two of Swords, Seven of Cups, and Seven of Coins. Seven of Coins is possibly like moving in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's going to work. They're already fundamentally like, what are we doing here? The military folks as a whole are standing in a Nine of Swords.
Mm-hmm.
And anxiety-ridden depression. There's one thing to stand up for right, but they can see this is wrong what they're doing now. But they're in that conflict of taking orders.
Right. Which is what they're trained to do. Trump says that 20% of the gas goes through the Straits of Hormones. No, it's Hormuz.
Probably
mixed up with his other bad habits.
Probably text changing.
I know. Sorry, J Cat lady. I know you didn't. What you're saying. Is he telling us the truth? No, it's way more than 20% goes through the Gulf of Hormuz.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes through there. It affects the world economy, the flow.
If you don't believe it, look at the world economy.
Same thing as pandemic. It affected the world economy.
Mm-hmm. Is Trump going to attack the Iranian electrical infrastructure? And if not, if it does not, open the straits with an oath.
There was already talk about this. He mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a war crime to attack
a civilian infrastructure.
My senses are like, no, they're not going to do that. There's already backlash from the kids. The stray missile. He just posts us randomly that it probably wasn't even in the talks. Really, I don't see it going through. He may order it or say it, but
the problem is trying to get it all. It's very,
I mean, like Israel and their own are already doing it. They're hitting oil structures and military facilities and they were hitting hotels and natural gas facilities. And I don't think we're going to get involved in that. Israel can do it because they've been trying to do it.
Yeah, and they do it to Israel. So, I mean, they have a reason. They're right there. For us, it's like
this whole junk, and it got involved with 17 countries are involved in this crap.
We got people talking about what a disappointment Fetterman was, and I agree.
Yes, he is. Wheezy Box is saying, why did Hegseth junk 2 minesweeper ships? From what I read, those minesweeper ships were already scheduled to be decommissioned. Like, we didn't know they were going to be needed. Mm-hmm. So they were headed to be junked.
Okay, I've got about 5 more questions, and then we're going to be done. Because Scott and I, and the rest of y'all should have a nice day to go out into. It's going to be 90 degrees here today, Scott.
Oh, good Lord.
Okay. This is true. When my husband had strokes, he never came back to having balance, but it's not something you get over easily. And especially when you walk around bruised and with rashes on your neck and all. Ooh.
Well, obviously, the felon must have had mild ones.
Yeah, they're little tiny intermittent strokes. And I can understand where, well, of course, my husband wasn't making speeches to people and he wasn't holding on to world peace. But when Trump started having bad speech long before he was reelected, Susan, my youngest, was with her dad. She was 12 and 13 then. And she said, "You remember when Dad used to mess those words up?" Yeah. Well, Trump actually tried to take Cuba. What's the energy around this?
Well, the poor Cubans they've been blackout. Their power's been down again yesterday
Mm-hmm.
for like 14 hours. It's intermittent. Those poor people. All because we're blocking the oil.
Mm-hmm. He's gonna come out and do something that's gonna look like an act of war. He's gonna come out of hiding. This is him striking out against him. It's a foolish thing. Whatever they do is not gonna work at all. It ain't gonna be Bay of Pigs, but it's not gonna be much better. Knight of Swords reversed, and they'll come to an agreement, a balance before we get to full out war. I can talk about the Bay of Pigs because I know Nancy Cast is old enough to remember that.
Yeah, I'm getting there, evaluating the situation. In the background, doing some strategic type of, intelligence or whatever. But they're currently in that evaluation stage of patience. There's danger ahead. What can we do? What we can't do? The Cubans are now in that horrific, broken down state. They may try some legal challenges to get like an international court or something to stop
humanitarian aid in.
Humanitarian aid. Because I'm getting like the educated lawyer or something, maybe doing something here for community and trying to help. Then I got a balancing coming in, like people coming into the rescue. Justice, clarity, balanced, good energy, Knight of Wands coming in, and the Mother of Healing. So that doesn't show any type of coup. It shows like the humanitarian,
right?
Humanitarian efforts. Like this has gone too far. We can't have there's heavy burdens.
We don't need to be fighting on both sides of the globe when we shouldn't even be fighting on any side of the globe.
It doesn't feel like it's a coup or taking Cuba. It feels like enough's enough. We can't have people dying from our actions, kind of thing.
Yes.
Cuban. And then you got Rubio, who's Cuban. How can he just stand there?
Cordy, it's like, oh God, this is. I know a lot of Cuban Americans, and I've known them through the years, and they all lost everything, which is probably very true. They had to pull up, but I don't remember after World War II living with the diaspora from Europe, listening to them complain the same way. But to me, the way Cubans speak about what they lost in Cuba, and I'm sure some lost a great deal. But when I first came to Texas, I kept running into people who would talk about how their families had lost everything in the war. And I was like, the what? And they were talking about the Civil War. And if every person I met while I was going through college that had lost the plantation, there'd have been nothing but plantations from Dallas to Georgia. I mean, and there weren't. It was just that was the Southern thing that they would say. Well, they took all of our things and da 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 da. Cubans the same. Cubans that live here, that have made millions, that have lived very comfortably, that have found a new life instead of getting on and saying, "I lived a new life." They want to come and steal what little the people who are left there have. Now, I don't blame them for being mad at Castro, but for the man on the streets, maybe those people got seasickness and couldn't come across on boats. I don't know. But I don't think when you talk to people from either side of that argument, you find a balanced thing. Oh, yeah. The FBI is saying they're going to investigate the dude that quit Homeland Security for leaking info. Will it go anywhere? He's the dude that's saying the land was and is not already a threat. Yeah, have you read that guy's history?
Yeah, he was a conspiracy theorist and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was a Democrat, then he was a Republican, then he was a this, and he was a that. He's the sort of person that you give a lot of drinks early to at your party so they go in the corner and shut up, you know?
Yeah, and then that after he got fired, or no, he resigned. Joe Kent, I think his name is.
Yeah, Joe Kent.
Then he went on Tucker Carlson. And he was saying things he shouldn't be saying. Luckily for him speaking with Carlson, he could be arrested.
Okay, well, is anything going to happen to this guy? It's a yes, no.
Yeah. You know, when you're in that type of position, you're bound by not talking about inside type of confidential stuff. And he was doing that on Carlson.
No, I got nothing's going to happen to him. He's going to move on. We're going to move on to other topics. In part because the more he talks, the worse it looks for Trump, if even half what he says is true. But he just wants to be, he just wants to flail out there and stab at everybody.
I get some protection cards. He may be charged, but it's going to cause him pain and lose money. But then I get walking away from it. Kind of like a Comey thing.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of feeling. Oh, we're going to try to charge you, but then I got walking away with the 8 of Cups. The burdens of bringing the case. With the King of Wands. And then I get some protection cards with like the Empress. Maybe the role he had has protections of what he was doing. So it feels like duty of service, speaking. So yeah, the only way they can prosecute him is if he took, took stuff like they're trying to go after Bolton, that kind of thing. But all I'm getting is speaking.
They should just give him Hunter's laptop. That seemed to keep him going.
There you go. So yeah, for him doing his job, now he's just speaking. He's got some protection with the Knight of Cups. But I'm not seeing any coins where like he took information, like classified stuff. So they're going to try to go after him. Yes, I think they may. I do have the 3 of coins, which could be documentations or subpoena or indictment, whatever. But it doesn't feel like it's going to go anywhere.
We already answered the question. You've put it in 5 times. We answered the question, will Trump go to U.S. court again? No, we don't think he'll live long enough.
Yeah, he would have to live to go to 2029 and beyond for any more court. But yeah. Unbelievable, crazy land.
Okay.
I miss Obama. We didn't have to talk about anything.
Can you tell us about the 6 to 8 spams call every day? I can tell you why you're getting them. It's got to do with the fact that supposedly Medicare has opened up a new thing and there's new dodgy companies trying to get your money. There's a spam filter you can set up, and their calls are supposed to come through saying they're spam. Although I know in Dallas they hide people's phone numbers and do that. But if you set spam filter on your phone, it will help you not hear them anymore.
Yeah, I used to get a lot of calls. You know, I don't answer, obviously, any calls I don't see or know. And if they don't leave a message and something I don't know, I just block. I just keep blocking the numbers, and eventually they go down to zero.
Right.
If they don't leave a message or I don't get a text, I block them. And after a while, they end. Now I get one every couple of weeks, and then just block again.
Oh, we're having a lot of discussions on being vegetarian, Scott.
Yeah.
And
if that's your
thing, and you can do it fine.
The problem is, what I feel is like you need to have some kind of protein also, whether it's a protein shake or whatever.
Well, being a vegetarian, you've got to know how to balance your foods, and that's just the reality of it. But there are ways. I have a good friend who's been one for years. She's still walking and moving. Where do I buy an air? Email me at crystaldirections.nancyjean. Let's see if I have it in my banners. Yes. If you'll email me at this email, I will send you the name of companies that make the air purifier that I talked about that kills germs, airborne germs.
Ariel says they just come in as no numbers, so they can't block. She can't block them. That sucks.
Oh no, your phone's supposed to have a way, unless it's an identifier. The other thing you do, set up your phone that unless it's a number that comes out of your phone book, someone that's in there. I don't know what kind of phone you have. I have an Android, but mine I can set it so unless it's a number that's in my phone book, it won't let them through. It just sends them to voicemail. So you don't have to. You don't even have the moral choice of will I ignore this person.
She says iPhone made a change.
Well,
complain or keep checking settings. Do some Googling. I have no clue about iPhones.
Yeah, I'm kind of lost with them. That and iPads and iComputers, period. And people are talking about the heartlessness of the meat and dairy industry. Well, I don't know. I've seen shows about how plants can feel things too. So what are we going to do? Never eat again?
Generally, the farmers I grew up around and myself, we treated our animals humanely. Like chickens, they tried to pack them in, and some cattle places do pack them in to bring them out. No exercise, it does happen.
Okay. We're at 129. Do you want to pull a card?
Sure, we can go there.
Because we're getting a lot of
repetitive.
They're repetitive, and there's a lot of people talking to each other in the chat, which I truly enjoy, building your own community, but it makes it hard when I'm on my end. And I do agree with this. Trump's breaking all 10 of the commandments and 7 of the deadly sins. Probably true. Oh, I did have one more question I wanted to ask for us to ask. But I'll hold it for next week. The full text of the Ethiopian Bible's out now. The 22 books that out of the Church of Rome and the Orthodox Church wrote off out of the Bible are now out. And Christianity would be a very different religion if they'd listened. And I'll think up a good way to put the question to you. I'll send you an article, Scott, so you some background if you haven't read about it. But I remember meeting a scholar of the Ethiopian Bible when I was in my 20s. And the 22 books that the Christians took out are the 22 books we're living, which is we have guides and spirits around us, God's energies around us all the time, and it's between us and our God, and we shouldn't have a building or a person between us and our beliefs. Very interesting. So what are we going to do for the week, Scott?
I'm just working.
You're just working, huh?
I don't understand Lane's comment here.
What is it?
And she said she's done with the channel. Say something about plants feeling pain and the animals scream. This can't be a decent, logical, and trustworthy. I don't get it.
Oh, okay. Scott and I both agree that there is a moral dilemma about how foods are grown. But yes, there are now studies in the world in the subtle energies where plants feel pain and a lot of other stuff. So when you say I can't, I'm a vegan because I can't stand what's happening to plants. Yeah, I mean what's happening to animals. There's a way that plants feel a kind of pain. And if that bothers you, lady, bye. Go off. Go talk to some other channel. I'm sorry, but I know that happens. But at some point we have to say, I have to eat. What am I going to eat?
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know what
I didn't probably say it as nicely as I could have. But I believe spirits around us completely, and spirit will tell us what's okay for our spirit to touch. And I would like you, if that's your bent and how you see life, whoever wrote that in there, come to see my show at 1 o'clock on Thursday when I have Tim Walter, who's he's just finished a book, What Now? And it's all about how quantum physics and the spiritual mix together. And it's a lot about those kinds of choices we make. And at what level are we making them? In the physical sphere, in the spiritual sphere? I think you'll find his description of how the world works interesting.
Well, everything in our universe and our planet was put here for us to survive. And
they eat each other.
Bees need the plants need take the carbon dioxide out in trees, and animals are for subsistence, and pets are for friends, and everything. Is there pain? Yes, of course. I don't like seeing cruelty to animals, whether it's farm animals or whatever, of course. Okay. 6 of Cups, and then so continuous work in progress. It's been a constant struggle throughout our history because we're not growing, and then we need change. So 6 of Cups, 6 of Summer is all about the past. So I don't think we've learned yet, because we're going back to the past. More conflicts. 8 of Coins is that constant work, constant effort of craftsmanship, trying to move forward. And then one day we will listen. We'll have that passionate relationship. And then I pulled one card out of my ET Oracle, and it's about believing what's in front of you. And I made that card for, like, when you see the signs all the time, whether it's oh, did I see a
Mhm.
UFO? Did I see this? Did I see that? Eventually, you got to keep seeing those signs and say, I do believe that, you know,
Mhm.
or the signs of a bad relationship or whatever, or something that doesn't resonate with you. Eventually, you're going to say, hopefully, use your intuition to click that, yeah, that's probably not good for me. So that's what that card, I made that card.
Mhm. Okay. What I pulled out of the Raise Your Vibration deck from Kyle Gray. I was called here on a mission. This is certainly not your first incarnation, and there's a good chance it's not your last. Before you come into this body, your soul set the intention of to remember the power and spirit of your other lifetimes. It's a set intention to bring light source in with your mission. The rest is left up to you. All the learning, all the experiences, what you might get from them. But your life was great, has great purpose. And when this card comes to you, the universe is reminding you of it. This is for all of us, guys. In fact, this card brings a boost of confidence. It shows that you're on the right path just by being who you are truly and being a bright spark in the goodness around other people. To stop getting yourself worried about specifics, just express the power of the spirit that's most authentic to you as possible. Shine now, shine where you are, express your gifts. I remember the power of my spirit. So that's my motivation card for your week. And I hope everybody has a lovely week. What, Scott?
Kimberly said there's lots of sources of proteins. Boogers are protein.
Okay. We don't need that one either.
Yep. We eat lettuce. Yeah. But whatever your body
What
needs
you
in the
think is
diet.
right.
I just read about studies or whatever that being vegan is perfectly fine, but
Yeah.
our muscles break down if we don't have enough protein. That's all I mentioned. You know,
Mm-hmm.
whatever your protein source is, nuts, whatever, just make sure your
I've
bones.
learned I learned how to cook with tofu, and tofu can do a lot of tofu's kind of like the chicken of the plant world. It just depends on what you spice it up with, how you mix it. Just and there's all different kinds, hard, soft, all in between. I'm not going to argue anybody's form of eating. Um, and somebody just put ISIS being deployed to the airports on Monday. I just saw that come across my phone. Anyway, I don't see much else other than.
Yeah, I remember another thing that happened to me. I was getting cramps a lot, and I couldn't figure out why.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing really changed in my diet, whatever. But I think my body wasn't taking enough calcium and potassium. So anyway, it was kind of funny, but it was a sign that I was given. I had a delivery, and I happened to be talking to the warehouse lady that checks you in, and she's like, "Oh, how's your day going?" Da da da. So I said, "Oh, I'm getting all these cramps lately. I can't figure out why." And she's like, "Oh, I got this thing for you." So she goes in her little cart there. She hides
Mm-hmm.
stuff during the day, and she goes, "You should take these." And it was a calcium, potassium supplement, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And she gave me two, and on my way, and I said, "I'll check that out." I haven't had a cramp since I started taking those vitamins too.
No. Potassium something our body learns to expel as we get older. Don't ask me about this. I was on keto for years. I watch every diet thing you can. But I do believe you can do all that stuff. And magnesium's
Oh,
wonderful too.
magnesium. That's it. Not potassium.
Okay.
It's
Magne-
magnesium. Okay. Magnesium and calcium. My bad. Yeah.
Okay. And there's a lot of products out there that give you those what they call trace minerals. I'm not going to get, that's a different kind of show. Go type in food, type in Eric Horvitz. He's a MD. You'll learn everything you ever wanted to really know about nutrition, especially if you're old, especially if you're interested in dementia and Alzheimer's. And anyway, and I'm not really interested in getting either one of them. So I read the plans and see what makes sense. Do what makes sense to you. It's like voting. Do what makes sense to you.
Yeah. Not telling you how to eat or anything. Just
and for those of you
your
who
body
didn't,
will tell you. Your body will tell you.
If you want to get your questions in early, subscribe to my channel. I post before we do this show. I have a place where you can post questions. Your questions will definitely get in. I saw some questions that came in later, but we were already full. Goodbye.